Welcome to our newsline. You're watching ERi-TV English news broadcast live from our headquarters in Asmara. I'm Ham Berhat. Let's first look at the top stories that are making headlines today. Announcement for the Ministry of Health. Members of Hara Transportation Company voluntarily donated blood. Several civilians and soldiers killed in Mogadishu suicide attack. Extreme weather events will cost the United States $100 billion. Two patients have been diagnosed positive for COVID-19 and tests is carried out today at quarantine centers in the central region. On the other hand, one patient who has been receiving medical treatment in hospitals in the central region has recovered fully and has been discharged from the facility. The total number of recovered patients has accordingly risen to 6,616, while the number of deaths stands at 40. The total number of confirmed cases in the country to date has increased to 6,663. Ministry of Health, Asmara, 15 September 2021. Members of Hara Transportation Company voluntarily donated blood for the second time with a view to enrich the National Blood Transfusion Center, noting that enriching the National Blood Transfusion Center is responsibility of every citizen the blood donor is called for reinforced contribution of the public to that effect. Mr. Musa Gazai, head of the administration of the company, called for sustainable awareness-raising activities with a view to develop the understanding of the public on the importance of the voluntarily donated blood in saving lives. Commending the initiative taken by the members of Hara Transportation Company, the National Blood Transfusion Center called on the public to follow the noble example and reinforce participation in enriching the center. The Ministry of Labor and Social Welfare branch in Maymene subzone extends school materials to 78 disadvantaged students in the subzone. Mr. Tekle Zaid, head of the branch office, said that the support was in continuation of similar support that the branch office has been extending to disadvantaged students. Mr. Tekle also called on the students to concentrate on their education and become competitive students. The parents of the beneficiary students, on their part, expressed appreciation for the support extended to their children. We'll be back with international news. Stay tuned. Al-Shabaab armed groups claims responsibility for latest attack in Somali capital. At least 9 people have died in a suspected suicide bombing in Somalia's capital, Mogadishu, police and witnesses said. The attack on Tuesday has killed and wounded civilians and members of the security forces. The preliminary investigations confirmed that the attack was a result of lone suicide bomber who blew himself at a tea shop where security forces and civilians frequented, and confirmed that at least 11 people, including soldiers, were killed and several others wounded. The bombing was claimed by the Al-Qaeda-linked Al-Shabaab armed group, which has been fighting to overthrow Somalia's federal government. Al-Shabaab controlled the capital until 2011, when it was pushed out by African Union troops, but it still holds territory in countryside and launches frequent attacks against government and civilian targets in Mogadishu and elsewhere. Extreme weather events will cost the United States well over $100 billion this year, topping last year's cost of $99 billion. President Joe Biden made Colorado the latest backdrop featuring nagging drought conditions and raging wildfires in the U.S. West to build support for the infrastructure spending plans aimed at fighting the growing threat of the climate change. Biden hopes to tap into voters' concerns about the climate gain populist support for a $3.5 trillion spending plan that's being negotiated in the U.S. Congress. rocket booster Soyuz 2.1B blasted off Tuesday, carrying on to 34 satellites from British firm OneWeb. The rocket, which is aiming to provide global high-speed internet access, took off from a launch site in Kazakhstan. The launch will help to raise the total number of OneWeb satellites in space to 322 satellites out of planned 600 planned. That was our news for tonight. We conclude with a recap of the headlines. Announcement from the Minister of Health. Members of Higher Transportation Company voluntarily donated blood. Several civilians and soldiers killed in Mogadishu suicide attack. Extreme weather events will cost United States $100 billion. That was all for today. Thanks for watching. Have a great night.